Hey, everybody. I'm Mary Knight. I am an author of a middle grade novel called Saving Wonder, which was published by Scholastic Press. I'm also the co-author of a professional development book called Core Empathy, a literacy instruction with a greater purpose, published by the National Council for Teachers of English. I've also been a writing mentor here at the Author Academy since its inception, and it's one of my great delights. And speaking of delight, I'm here to introduce and to celebrate the progress of my wonderful student, Lynne Neyland. Lynne's work over the last 2 years has been fueled by a dream. In her words, that young girls someday will have fun reading my books and seeing themselves on the pages, a really critical thing for a young reader. This dream has continued to inspire her, even when a major accident last year put her in the hospital and presented her with months of recovery. When she was given the opportunity, however, to put a pause on her academy work, she said, "No, I don't think so. If not now, when?" I really admire her courage. Lynne's main goal for our mentorship was how to become a better writer. Many writers are product focused. They want to complete a manuscript by the end of this time, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I also admired Lynne's determination to learn more about her craft and to have that as her focus, how to write specifically for a middle grade audience, and to practice that learning in her work. She's become a better writer at creating scenes, for instance, getting right to the action, deepening the protagonist's character through interior reflection, and making narrative choices that always move the story forward, to name just a few. A perfectionist by nature, Lynne has learned to play with her writing as she discovers the story she wants to tell. And a lot of this time has been discovering that story and making narrative choices about the story. This hasn't been easy for her to play. A perfectionist myself, I understand this about Lynne, and I've watched how she's loosened up and dared to make mistakes, which is absolutely a necessary part of the process of creating a first draft. It's also critical to enjoying the process of writing itself. Furthermore, Lynne is overcoming her reluctance to share her writing in a group. A huge step for her, and one that will benefit her writing tremendously. As a self-proclaimed loner, Lynne says that through her work with the Author Academy, she is learning the importance of a writing community, one which she calls, in this one, specifically at the Carnegie Center, she calls a sharing and caring one, in which she is feeling safe to share. So here's an example of Lynne's writing I'm delighted to share with you. What began as a simple writing exercise to play with an idea has become the prologue for Lynne's middle grade novel. All the seeds of the story, I believe, are contained in this prologue. It's called What a Tree Knows. A gentle rain sweeps across a small Atlantic island most mornings. Then it's either warm or hot all day, depending on the season. The evenings are often capped with a cool ocean breeze. Then the cycle begins again. Vegetation thrives in this climate. The fields are filled with fragrant wildflowers, and there are 2 forests. Visitors and even islanders look at the trees, but don't really see them. They know the oldest or tallest or most unusual tree, but not the ones they consider average or ordinary. A two-lane road separates the western side of the North Forest from an unremarkable-looking maple tree planted more than 200 years ago. This maple thought humans were interesting. The first person it loved was a girl named Hattie. They traveled a great distance together when the tree was just a seedling. Hattie had tenderly wrapped the seedling in moist cloth to prepare for the trip. And the voyage to the island wasn't easy. Rain pelted the passengers, soaking their skin. Turbulent waters threatened to capsize the ship. No matter how scared Hattie became, however, she took care of the seedling. Once she was established on the island, Hattie planted the seedling at the edge of the forest. This was before countless trees were cut down so a two-lane road could be built. The maple was just becoming a tree when it was separated from its forest friends. Maybe that's another reason the tree loved Hattie. Hattie seemed to understand how the tree felt. She seemed to care. It was then that Hattie started talking to the tree. She told the tree how she, along with her mother, sister, and brother, would meet under a great maple tree on a place called a plantation in the South. Those were happy moments for the family, until one day her brother was sold and moved further south. Not long after, her mother and sister were also sold and moved further south. It was called being sold down the river. Hattie never saw them again. That's when the tree knew that Hattie understood exactly how it felt about the two-lane road and how it had destroyed everything it loved. Eventually, Hattie married and built a home near the tree, and she continued to talk to it. Most of the time, the talk was about the island, who was coming and who was going. On rare occasions, she talked about her life on the plantation. Some of the stories made the maple's leaves quiver. Hattie said living on the plantation made her feel cold and cloudy inside, even when it was hot and sunny outside. She said that way so the tree would understand, and it did. Hattie on the island was different than Hattie on the plantation. She became an artist and painted the maple tree numerous times. The tree grieved when Hattie died. It was mad that its friend was gone, but later it was glad it had known her. And so it watched and listened to people over the years. It liked many, but decided not to love anyone the way it still loved Hattie. But then came Dara, Hattie's great-great-great-granddaughter. When Dara was 4, she discovered the tree. She played in its shade, giggled a lot, and hugged the tree often. The tree loved Dara back. Then this child who loved to laugh became quiet around the time she turned 9. That's also about the time her cousin Naomi moved to the island. They were best friends, but discord took root and grew, particularly over the year both girls turned 11. The tree wanted to help Dara with every fiber of its being, but it didn't know how. Until, that is, it remembered who might. So that's What a Tree Knows by Lynne Neyland. Lynne, it's been a pleasure working with you. I know we have some work left, and I'm excited to see how you continue to grow as a writer and continue to feel more and more comfortable in sharing your story with others. Thank you.